Good Thursday morning to you. This weather video is driven by 802cars.com, representing 802 Toyota, Twin Cities Subaru, and 802 Honda, all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. Well, we have a storm system that'll be evolving over this period, really starting today and then continuing through this weekend. This storm system will be tapping into some subtropical moisture and even potentially leftovers of a tropical storm that will be pulled into the system from the southeast off the Atlantic. This could produce locally heavy rainfall and eventually some wet snow across our higher terrain, less likely though on the valley floors. Current conditions show this first batch of precipitation, which is a frontal system, and it's going to be slowly pivoting and becoming more north and south as more moisture will then pull in and push in from the Atlantic Ocean. Right now, rainfall is making a track that'll be pushing into the region by midday or early afternoon in some locations in eastern Vermont. This rainfall will be a shot of showers and then become more widely scattered, but there'll be a band, a very significant band of 2 to 4 inch rainfall, roughly from about the northern Champlain Valley, kind of nicking the northwest corner of the state of Vermont, and then back south and west. There are some thunderstorms mixed in currently here, but we're not anticipating any of these storms making it into Vermont. They should be weakening and dying out. This is a quick view. You see here the cold frontal system with loads of moisture being pulled in from the Gulf of Mexico and then overrunning, and this is the main area, 2 to 4 inch rains. Also want to call your attention down here, this is a tropical depression. It is projected to become Tropical Storm Otto, and Otto will take a track off the coast and then be pulled, some of that moisture will be sort of pulled in as the upper level trough that you see here eventually becomes north-south and then a negative tilted, and as that whole thing takes place, the evolution, this will be pulled into enhancing some tropical rains along the coast and even into Vermont. That'll happen, it looks like, during the day on Saturday. Okay, looking at the projection of the European model, you can see that area of precipitation, and this is the tropical depression, which will become Tropical Storm Otto. So looking at that, you can see each 6-hour panel here, and you see the darker reds there, which really do pick up. We're talking a bit greater than 9/10 of an inch of rainfall here, just clipping the northwest portion of Vermont. Otherwise, showers will be relatively light and sporadic across the remainder of the southeastern 2/3 of the state. But the way this is projected right now, you can see the evolution here, each 6-hour panel. We're missing some data right there. Then this sets up, and this area of low pressure combines, pulls the remainder of the tropical moisture in, and you can see how it streams into portions of eastern Vermont especially. This would be valid, it looks like, on Friday night. And then during the day on Saturday, this is going to be playing a role. You can see how enhanced that precipitation suddenly is, with a strong deepening area of low pressure in the Gulf of Maine and then pulling north and east. This strong area of low pressure will tighten the pressure gradient up. It'll also pull in colder air aloft, which will change rain showers or rains, persistent rains at that, to wet snow. And then the whole thing exits, looks like, by about midday or a little beyond that on Sunday. We're into a pretty tight pressure gradient at that point with very good mixing conditions, colder air aloft. So fairly strong gusty northwest winds could impact utilities as well. Once again, looking at the European model, let's check precipitation trends. These are 6-hour panels. This is the first surge that makes it in here this afternoon on Thursday. This is by 8 o'clock this evening. We're starting to see that big moisture swath develop here and affect really the northern Champlain Valley. And you kind of see the picture here. This is valid 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. Then I want to call your attention into some moisture here that's from that subtropical or tropical storm Otto. Gets pulled in and up through parts of New Hampshire especially, and into the eastern portions of Vermont. This is total accumulated precipitation, so you can see those reds up around 2.3 inches around Springfield, 1.7 at White River Junction, West Lebanon. By the time we get into Saturday evening, we're looking at some pretty healthy rainfall. So at this time, we're not looking for any impacts with heavy rains. It's something we'll have to monitor for any flood issues as well. The antecedent conditions are very, very dry. Okay, what about snowfall? Well, this is Saturday afternoon. This is getting into the evening hours, and overnight on Saturday night when we'll start to see the snowfall begin, the wet snow across the higher terrain. This is valid by 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning. So you can see this would suggest no issues in the lower elevations on the western side of the state. A little bit touchy in north central Vermont, the northeast kingdom. Certainly the highlands will see some snow. And we're talking about amounts here. This is a 6-hour total of about 7 inches. And then carrying forth another 7 inches for a 6-hour total up around J Peak. So you imagine over a foot of snow potentially at some of the highest elevations according to the European model, which has been relatively consistent. And then carrying that further, it looks like the precipitation begins to exit out of the region by, this is valid through 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So the last panel here, it's all finished up. We have very strong mixing winds that will be taking place. I'll show you that in a second. And looking at wind gusts, when we start to see the lighter green colors, that's usually about 40 miles per hour. So reaching thresholds. Again, this is valid a Saturday evening at about 8 o'clock. But overnight things do pick up and we start to see some pretty strong wind gusts, especially the southern spine of the greens, but also along the central and northern greens as well. This is valid in the morning on Sunday, but good mixing conditions begin to work on in as skies clear. The sun heats up the ground and everything mixes from the top to the bottom, and so the winds become enhanced, and kaboom. This is valid by the European model, about 18Z. That would be 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you can see some gusts greater than 50 knots along the spine of the Green Mountains. So this could be problematical for some downsloping, especially immediately east of the Green Mountains. Not really sure yet. We'll have to look at the dynamics as we get a little bit closer in time. This is now valid 6 hours later at about 8 o'clock in the evening on Sunday, and then things fall off Sunday night, so no worries there. So in essence, this is quite the system that is really going to be moving on through as a couple areas of low pressure, including potentially a tropical storm, sort of get into the mix, enhance the precipitation, deepen the area of low pressure. It pulls away. We get very strong northwest winds on the backside of parting low pressure, and then a lot of cold air influx with several little spotty snow shower flurry kind of business, little Alberta clippers that will continue into the early to mid part of next week. Before we get into a warm-up, and I'll carry this through here, you can see that the next lead weather system later in the week on Friday, this is about the 28th of October, we start to warm back up, and it's all in the form of rain at that point in time. That's it from here. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights.